You pay your bills on time. Every month, without fail. You've never missed a payment. And yet your credit score is sitting at 640 or 670 or 690, stubbornly below that 740 threshold, where the best interest rates, the best credit cards, and the best financial opportunities live. And you're frustrated because you've been doing everything right, paying on time, keeping old accounts open, not applying for too many cards, and the number barely moves. Meanwhile, you've seen people go from 620 to 760 in 6 months, and you're thinking, how? What do they know that I don't? Here's the answer. They understand how the scoring system actually works, not the simplified version that banks and credit card companies tell you. Pay on time and your score will improve. The real version, the mechanical, algorithmic version that treats your credit score not as a measure of character, but as a math equation with specific inputs, specific weights, and specific timing windows that you can optimize. And the single most impactful optimization, the one that can move your score 30 to 80 points in a single billing cycle, is something that banks will never voluntarily teach you because a higher score costs them money. They make more when your score is lower. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that optimization is, how it works, why the timing matters more than the behavior, and how to implement it starting this month. My name is Max, and I want to help you learn how to make your money work more for you in your life. This channel is about understanding the systems that control your financial life and using that understanding to make those systems work for you instead of against you. If you've ever felt like the credit system is rigged, subscribe, because today we're going to show you how to rig it back. So here's the conventional wisdom about credit scores. Pay your bills on time and your score will go up. And that's true. Payment history is the single largest factor in your FICO score, accounting for about 35% of the total. But here's what the conventional wisdom leaves out. The second largest factor, credit utilization, at 30% of your score, has a timing mechanism built into it that most people don't know about. And that timing mechanism is the loophole. Let me explain. Credit utilization is the percentage of your available credit that you're currently using. If you have a $10,000 credit limit and a $3,000 balance, your utilization is 30%. And the scoring algorithm treats utilization like a volume knob. Lower is better, with the biggest score improvements coming when you drop below 30%, below 10%, and especially below 3%. Now here's the part that changes everything. Your utilization isn't calculated based on what you spend during the month. It's calculated based on what your balance is on the day your credit card issuer reports to the credit bureaus. And that reporting date is almost always your statement closing date, not your payment due date. Those are different dates, and the gap between them is the loophole. Think about it like a photograph. The credit bureau takes one snapshot of your account per month on your statement closing date. Whatever your balance is in that snapshot is what gets reported as your utilization. It doesn't matter if you charged $5,000 during the month and paid $4,800 of it by the statement date. The snapshot only sees the remaining $200. And $200 on a $10,000 limit is 2% utilization, which is nearly perfect. Most people don't know the snapshot exists. They charge throughout the month, make their payment on the due date, which is 21 to 25 days after the statement closes, and don't realize that the bureau already took the snapshot when the balance was at its peak. So someone who charges $3,000 per month and pays it off in full by the due date might show 30% utilization on their credit report, even though they're a perfect payer, because the snapshot caught them at $3,000 before the payment. The optimization is simple. Pay down your balance before your statement closing date, not your payment due date. If your statement closes on the 15th and your due date is the 8th of the following month, make a payment by the 14th that brings your balance to near zero, ideally between 1% and 3% of your limit. The snapshot on the 15th will show near zero utilization. Your score adjusts within 1 to 2 billing cycles, and the improvement can be dramatic. 30 to 80 points for someone who was previously showing high utilization. I want to emphasize how absurd this is. Two people can have the exact same income, the exact same spending, and the exact same payment behavior, paying every balance in full every month, never missing a payment. But one pays 3 days before the statement closes, and the other pays on the due date. And the first person has a credit score 40 to 70 points higher. Same behavior, different timing, wildly different score. That's not a character assessment. That's a timing game. And once you understand it's a game, you can play it. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about timing one payment. There are 3 layers to this strategy that, combined, can transform a mediocre score into an excellent one within 3 to 6 months. Layer 1 is the statement date payment, what I just described. Pay before the statement closes, not before the due date. This single change addresses the most common reason that responsible people have lower scores than they should. Layer 2 is the credit limit increase request. Most credit card issuers allow you to request a credit limit increase through their app or website, and many of these requests use a soft pull, meaning they don't appear on your credit report and don't affect your score. By increasing your limit, you automatically decrease your utilization percentage without changing your spending at all. If your limit goes from $10,000 to $15,000, your $500 statement balance drops from 5% utilization to 3.3%. Free points. Now, you might be thinking, won't a higher limit tempt me to spend more? And that's a legitimate concern. But here's the reframe. The credit limit increase is a tool. If you don't change your spending, and you shouldn't, the higher limit is pure mathematical benefit with zero behavioral risk. The limit is a number on a screen. Your spending is determined by your habits, not your limit. And if your habits are already responsible, the higher limit just makes the math work better. Layer 3 is the authorized user strategy. If you have a family member or trusted partner with an old credit card account in good standing, low utilization, long history, perfect payments, being added as an authorized user on that account can import that account's entire positive history into your credit file. The account's age, payment history, and low utilization all get reflected on your report. You don't need to use the card. You don't even need to have the physical card. You just need to be listed as an authorized user. This strategy can add years of credit history to a thin file overnight. For someone in their early 20s with only 1 or 2 years of credit history, being added to a parent's 15-year-old account can shift the length of credit history factor dramatically. And that factor accounts for 15% of your score. One important note, the account needs to be in good standing. Being added to an account with high utilization or missed payments will hurt your score rather than help it. Verify that the account has low utilization, perfect payment history, and a long track record before requesting to be added. And if the relationship is complicated or the account isn't clean, skip this layer. Layers 1 and 2 alone can produce significant results. Combined, these 3 layers address 80% of your credit score factors. Utilization, 30%, payment history optimization, 35%, and credit history length, 15%. And none of them require opening new accounts, taking on debt, or doing anything that increases your financial risk. You're not gaming the system in a shady way. You're understanding how the system actually calculates your score and aligning your behavior to what it measures, instead of what you assume it measures. Let me show you the math on why this matters, because the financial impact of a higher credit score is genuinely staggering. The difference between a 670 credit score and a 760 credit score on a $300,000 30-year mortgage is approximately 0.5% to 1.0% in interest rate. At 0.75% lower, your monthly payment drops by about $150 per month. Over the life of the loan, that's approximately $54,000 in saved interest. $54,000. From optimizing a number that you can improve in 3 to 6 months using the strategies I just described. On a car loan, the difference is proportionally similar. A $30,000 car at 8% versus 5% over 5 years costs you roughly $2,400 more in interest. On credit cards, the difference between a 24% APR card and a 16% APR card available to people with excellent credit is hundreds of dollars per year in interest for anyone who occasionally carries a balance. And those savings compound. The $150 per month you save on mortgage interest, invested at 8%, grows to about $68,000 in 20 years. The credit score didn't just save you money, it generated wealth. Now, I want to address the psychology of why most people don't optimize their credit scores, because it's not laziness or ignorance. It's a specific psychological barrier. Credit scores feel like grades, and grades feel like judgments. When you see a 650, your brain interprets it as you failed, and nobody wants to stare at a failing grade and analyze it clinically. So you avoid checking it, you avoid thinking about it, and you definitely avoid calling your credit card company to request a limit increase, because that feels like asking the teacher for extra credit after you already failed the test. But here's the reframe. Your credit score isn't a grade. It's a game with rules. And once you see the rules, the game is remarkably simple to win. You're not being judged. You're being measured by an algorithm that responds to specific inputs. Change the inputs. Change the output. There's no moral dimension. There's no character assessment. It's math. And math doesn't judge. It calculates. The identity shift when your credit score crosses 740 is real. You stop being someone who has credit issues and start being someone who has excellent credit. And that identity shift affects how you approach every financial transaction. You negotiate rates because you know you qualify for the best ones. You apply for premium rewards cards that generate hundreds of dollars per year in cash back. You approach mortgage lenders with confidence instead of anxiety. The number on the screen isn't just a number, it's a credential that opens doors. And this is the part most people miss. Your credit score doesn't just affect borrowing, it affects your career, your housing, and your insurance. Many employers run credit checks during the hiring process. Landlords use credit scores to evaluate rental applications. And auto insurance companies in most states use credit-based insurance scores to set premiums. A higher credit score can save you $500 to $1,000 per year on insurance alone. Here's what the credit score shift looks like in specific scenarios. You're applying for an apartment in a competitive rental market. With a 670 score, the landlord requires an extra month's security deposit, $1,800 you can't invest. With a 760, the standard deposit applies and that $1,800 stays in your investment account, compounding for years. You're financing a used car. With a 670 score, you're offered 9.5% interest. With a 760, you're offered 5.5%. On a $20,000 car over 5 years, the difference is roughly $2,200 in interest, money that flows into the lender's pocket instead of yours. You're applying for a rewards credit card that offers 2% cash back on all purchases, requires a 740 plus credit score if you spend $2,000 per month on the card and pay it off completely each billing cycle. That's $480 per year in free cash back. Money that doesn't exist for someone with a 670 score who doesn't qualify for the card. And the career effects of excellent credit compound quietly but powerfully. The confidence that comes from knowing your credit score is excellent affects how you negotiate, not just mortgage rates, everything. When you know the system works in your favor, you approach financial decisions with the authority of someone who understands the rules. You ask for better rates on existing accounts. You comparison shop with confidence. You refinance strategically because you know you'll qualify for the best terms. That financial assertiveness, the willingness to ask, negotiate, and optimize, typically saves the average person $3,000 to $8,000 per year across all their financial products over a career. That's $100,000 to $250,000 in savings, not from earning more, from optimizing better. Now, I have to warn you about the mistake that catches people who learn credit optimization. They start obsessing over the score itself, checking it daily, opening multiple new accounts for limit increases, applying for cards they don't need to build more history. And in doing so, they generate hard inquiries that temporarily lower their score, dilute their average account age, and create complexity that increases the risk of missed payments. The optimization is simple. Pay before the statement date. Request a limit increase once or twice a year. Get added as an authorized user if possible. And then stop. The score will rise. The benefits will flow. And the best thing you can do after implementing the strategy is leave it alone and let the algorithm work. Credit optimization is a setup, not a hobby. Build the system. Let it run. Check your score quarterly. And focus your attention on the things that actually build wealth. Income, investments, savings rate. The credit score is the key that opens the door. But the wealth is on the other side of the door, not in the keyhole. So, here's what I want you to do this week. First, find your statement closing date. It's on your credit card statement or in your account online. Second, set a calendar reminder for 2 days before that date to make a payment that brings your balance below 3% of your limit. Third, request a credit limit increase through your card's app. It takes 2 minutes. And if you have a trusted family member with an old, clean account, ask if they'll add you as an authorized user. 3 actions. 30 minutes total. And within 60 to 90 days, your credit score will start reflecting the person you actually are, not the person the old timing made you look like. Because the system was never measuring your character. It was measuring your knowledge of the rules. And now you know the rules. Play the game, win the score, and use it to build the financial life you actually deserve.